The hospital smelled of antiseptic and faint traces of lavender oil from the diffuser that one of the nurses always kept near the pediatric ward. It was supposed to calm the children, but Maya knew it rarely reached past the machines that beeped and blinked in relentless rhythm. She had learned to move in those halls like someone who belonged, yet always, as though she were carrying a secret burden. She was 30 years old, but she felt older. Her nights were carved into shifts, her days into textbooks, her meals into hurried bites in break rooms. She never had time for herself yet. When she stepped into Sophie's room, everything seemed to still. Sophie's body trembled as though it had been stolen by a storm, her breath's shallow eyes unfocused, monitors screaming their sharp alarm. The doctor barked orders for medication, his hand already reaching for the vial, but Maya stepped forward, her voice quiet but firm. "Give me 1 minute." The doctor frowned, impatient. 60 seconds, he muttered, then turned away as if already preparing for failure. Maya walked to the bed like approaching something sacred. She lifted Sophie gently, the girl rigid in her arms, her tiny fists clenched her body, fighting unseen battles. Maya swayed back and forth, her lips close to the child's ear. She sang the lullaby softly. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." The sound barely a whisper, yet steady like a candle refusing to be blown out. The room shifted, not because the machine stopped, but because something deeper began to still. Sophie's clenched fists softened, her head pressed into Maya's collarbone. Her breath steadied. The storm subsided. Behind the curtain, Adam stood frozen. The song pierced him like a memory he had buried for years. His wife had sung it each night, even in her last days. Even when cancer had drained her voice, she had hummed it through the baby monitor. So Sophie would never feel alone after the funeral. Adam had stopped music altogether. He had locked it away like a door he could never open, but here it was again, spilling from the lips of a woman he hardly knew. Maya laid Sophie back down with tender hands, unaware of the man watching her. Adam gripped the curtain, then released it, his fingers trembling. He could not speak. He could only feel something stir inside him. Not love, not yet, but something quieter. Something that had been missing, hope. He began to notice her more after that night. Not because she asked to be noticed, but because she seemed to live in the shadows, only stepping forward when someone needed her. She was the nurse who stayed late to chart thoroughly. The nurse who bent low to meet frightened eyes at their level. The nurse who sang when machines failed to soothe. She was finishing her nursing degree, working extra shifts, teaching part-time. No one knew how she kept herself standing, but she did. Adam had withdrawn from the world since his wife died. He owned a chain of bookstores, once his pride, now just numbers. He barely glanced. He let managers run the shops, burying himself in routine and grief. But when he saw Maya with Sophie, something shifted like the faintest crack in stone. Life had a way of testing cracks the next morning. Maya limped slightly into the ward. She had been nearly struck by a car on her way to work, spilling coffee, scraping her knee. She said nothing to anyone, hiding the pain beneath her scrubs. But Adam noticed. He saw the way she winced when she crouched to pick up Sophie's toy elephant. He saw the way she forced a smile for the child, and when she disappeared into the break room later, she found her locker filled with quiet care bandages, plasters, gel, and a note that said only, "Take care, someone is watching." She held that note as though it were more than paper. It was proof she was seen. Then came the accusation, a missing vial. A report unsigned, her name on the line, the administrator's sharp words. Maya suspended without pay. Her world teetered. She remembered the night clearly. Sophie had seized. She had been everywhere at once, calming, logging, charting. She knew she had placed the vials in the transport box, but her words fell thin in the silence of judgment. She sat in her apartment, badge tucked away, staring at her textbooks, wondering how long she could survive. But the next day the truth surfaced. Adam had used his connections, demanded footage, searched the record himself. It showed her handing off the box at the exact time she remembered. He cleared her name without asking for recognition, without even telling her directly when she was reinstated, and learned it was him. She met his eyes for the first time with something unspoken, like gratitude and fear all at once. Sophie's world grew lighter in Maya's presence. For the first time in 2 years, she laughed a soft giggle one morning when Maya made a toy elephant dance across the sheets. Adam stood by the window watching the moment. As though it were a miracle, he found himself speaking more, asking small questions. About Sophie's routines, about Maya's classes, their conversations careful, almost shy. Then came the gala, the hospital's grand event. The nurses whispered about dresses and dates. Maya ignored the chatter. She had no money for gowns, no space. In her life for chandeliers, she deleted the invitation without thought until the night before when Adam appeared, awkward in the hallway, holding a box wrapped in brown paper, tied with a navy ribbon. "I heard you are not going to the gala," he said. "And that is fine, but if you change your mind, this might help." He held out the box, his voice uncertain. Then he added softly, "Will you be my first date in a long time?" Maya opened the box. Later at home, inside was a sapphire dress, elegant, understated. It fit her perfectly, too perfectly. And when she found the note folded at the corner, her breath caught. She never got the chance to wear it. I thought maybe now is the right time for it to live. The dress had belonged to his wife. Suddenly the fabric felt heavy with memory. Maya wore it anyway. Stepping into the ballroom where lights shimmered and whispers sharpened. "Isn't that his wife's dress? Isn't..." She just a stand in the words sliced through her. She smiled at strangers, but her chest tightened, until she could bear no more. She slipped away before dessert heels echoing in the hall, her reflection in the mirror. Later that night showed a woman she did not recognize. Beautiful, yes, but a ghost of someone else. She folded the dress away, sliding it beneath her bed. Adam texted. She replied politely, "Thank you for last night, nothing more." She kept her distance in the ward, avoiding his eyes, burying herself in charts and routine. Yet each time Sophie reached for her, she felt her resolve falter. She was not angry, only afraid. Afraid that she was nothing more than a replacement. Afraid that kindness would twist into expectation. Afraid that her heart, already bruised, could not survive another fracture. But Adam too lay awake at night. In the quiet of his study, he thought of Maya not as a replacement, but as someone who had reached into a silence no one else could touch. He thought of the way Sophie laughed again, the way the room felt different when Maya was near. He did not know how to bridge the space between them. He only knew he wanted to try. Maya walked through the halls carrying her burdens, but now with a secret weight of longing she had never asked for. She thought often of the lullaby, the song she had sung for Sophie. She realized it had not only calmed the child, it had awakened something in herself, a reminder that she could still give love, even if she doubted she could receive it. She tucked the memory close like the folded note in her pocket. And though fear kept them apart, though whispers of the past still lingered, both Maya and Adam carried the truth in silence that sometimes the gentlest voices, the smallest kindnesses, and the most fragile moments of hope were the ones that built new beginnings, even if neither of them yet dared to call it love.